BDSM and non-standard relationships,
power exchange and polyamory,
sacred sexuality and fetishes, as well as simply fun kink.
You're listening to the Erotic Awakening Podcast Network.
To the FDM podcast. I'm back, your lovely hostess, Mistress Simone. And today I have one of the icons of the femdom industry with me for an interview, Mistress Ariana of New York City. Welcome.
Welcome. How are you?
I am so honored to have you here and a chance to interview you. And I've admired you for many years.
Same here.
Thank you very much. So what I'd like you to do is give my listeners a small background of your journey in dominance before we get into some of the fun questions.
Okay, well, basically I started in 1995, but I did play several years prior to actually being a prodomme. I used to frequent the Vault and Hellfire. That is actually that's not what got me into this. What got me into this is during my time in college, I needed a part-time job, and I was a girl six. Do you know what that is? Like a phone sex.
I
person.
do, but they
yes.
Now they do.
Yes. And
now they do too.
And I remember I got a call that said domination. Did not know what it was, but the person on the other end did describe what he wanted, and I loved it. And that was probably my turning point in actually getting me into this.
Okay. How did you begin your path as a professional?
I was looking at the Village Voice.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a second job. The Dungeons of Mistress Elizabeth was hiring, so I went, and I had like mixed feelings about actually working there because I was young, and although they hired me, they did tell me that I wouldn't be as successful as everyone else there.
Oh my God.
Because I was a person of color. So, but it was a good thing he did. And what he said to me, because then I was actually driven. Because I wanted to prove to this individual that I can actually make it. And while being a dom, I noticed that there was Mistress Mir.
Yes.
And although I kept referencing...
One of the icons of our industry.
I kept saying, but look at Mir. He was like, oh, you're no Mir. You don't have a rich husband.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What an ass.
Yeah, well...
And he's where now? We have no idea.
He
disappeared.
Yeah, no longer in the business.
Yes, I guess he didn't know a damn thing what he was talking about now, did he?
No, not at all.
So you were trained there at the house?
I was actually trained there by, I know she may not be liked by a lot of people, but she did take me under her wing, and I really appreciate everything that she taught me. She taught me about wardrobe, how important wardrobe was, and she told me that don't be like everyone else.
Right.
Try everything and see exactly what you like, and basically, make that what you want to do. Don't be a mistress of all trade. Specialize. And I listened to her. Her name is Diana Balance.
I remember Diana Balance.
Yes.
One of my first experiences was working with her phone service.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I dabbled in it to start to see if I wanted to do it before I launched into professional live real sessions like you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you know what? She may not be very liked, but she had a very good run. Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, she was always professional.
Always professional.
And she knew her shit.
Yep. And
she knew her shit.
It's like when you first start off, you're not doing a lot of sessions. But for some reason, she took to me and she says, look, I want you, when you're not doing anything, come in on my sessions. And I learned.
And that's the way to do
Yes.
it. That's what the baby doms now need to.
Yeah, well, the thing that this scene is a bit disappointing to me. Wardrobe is not important. Everyone's wearing lingerie and a lot of stuff was lost because I remember working at Elizabeth, although he wasn't a nice person, he did teach us a lot of things. Like he says, okay, you have to have one leather outfit, one PVC outfit, and one latex outfit.
At least.
No matter what it was. It could have been bikini of everything.
Right.
And then you had 3 months to have a corset. And by the time 6 months came, you had to have at least one catsuit in any fabric. You had to have the police cap.
The hat.
You had to have a pair of boots. Yeah. You had to have closed-toe shoes, gloves. Yes, open toe. You had to have gloves. And so we had to have certain things within 6 months. Mm-hmm. Now it's like not required. And
no, you can do it in your bikini and
or nothing
at all.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that
it was a when you walked into the room and your client saw you in leather and your hat and your cap, it's like they just dropped immediately to the floor.
Right.
And they knew you weren't a person to mess with. Mm-hmm. Now you come out with this little lingerie tutu. Who's afraid of you?
Right. Not me.
No, so.
And probably not your clients.
No, I'm sure I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for how I feel, but.
No, you won't, because I've said the same thing on my no.
Okay.
Yeah, we're there. It's okay. Yeah. What other industry changes have you noticed, and how do you feel about them? And I've already ranted about this, so don't feel like you have to hold back. It's okay.
Problems in the industry? Oh, gosh.
We only have about a half hour, 40 minutes to say. Or the changes. Because remember, when you and I started, we didn't have this thing called internet.
I was about to bring that up. The internet, I think, has ruined our business.
Mm-hmm.
Clients see movies. There are a lot of people who do porn and call it S&M. And, like, you're going to eat my vagina or whatever. And things along that line. And then clients call you and they think that they can reenact what they see in those films. And we're not prostitute. This is what makes us different from the prostitute. We are not supposed to be touched in certain ways.
Exactly.
And
it's that reverence.
And
it's that respect.
It's really disrespectful because a lot of times I get like new clients and they've already seen the riffraff. Sorry. And then they're expecting things from me and I'm like, no. Well, so-and-so's doing this and it's pretty disgusting. And the sad part about it is the real clients, the clients from the 90s and the 80s, they're getting, I'm aging, and they were older than me and they're disappearing.
They're disappearing. We're losing them.
We're losing them. And we're actually stuck with a lot of these. I don't know what to call them.
I don't either.
Because they're not subs.
No, they're not subs. They're kinky. They're fetishists.
Yes.
Which I love fetishists.
Yes. There's a different kind of fetishist,
yes.
It's like when someone came to me and was like, Mistress, I'd like you to smother me. And I don't see anything wrong with that because when I'm smothering you, bet you believe you're not breathing.
You're not breathing.
Now it's like, oh, Mistress, do you do queening? And I had to look at the Urban Dictionary because I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, queening. I was like,
thank God.
At first I was like, oh wow, he thinks I'm a queen.
Right.
But then I Googled this thing and I was like, what?
Right. I know. The first time I got an email with it in, I was like, So I had to do the same thing. I was like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, oh not happening.
And there's another thing that's kind of bothering me, and I know there are some kind of top people in the business who actually educate on this particular topic, but I don't think that they designed it for us. They designed this for couples. And now I have people, because I do bondage, they're expecting me to do something called bondage.
Yes.
And I don't know the whole story about it, but when the guys call me and they're like, yeah, I want to be massaged, and I'm like, I'm not a service to you, and they, because I ask questions. I'm like, and how do you come if you're tied up and you're getting massage and all of this? They was like, well, you help me.
No, I know.
And I'm like, how did this? I understand for a couple. I mean, I'm married. I could tie up my husband and give him a massage, and it's very erotic, but that does not belong in my session. And now people are calling me, expecting me to do these things, and they get shut down, of course, but it's, I don't want to seem like I'm the complaining person.
You're not. No, I agree 100%. I took the Bondage House course.
Okay.
On reference to Eve Minex, who's a good friend. And
Jaylene, is it what they say?
Yeah,
these guys are calling me and
it is.
Okay.
And Jaylene is a wonderful person, and that's great. That's a different market. But when I went to see her, I made it clear, and she's a nice woman, so I just hung out with her as well. Mm-hmm. And I made it clear. I said, I don't do that. I'm not a masseuse, and in Chicago, you can't pass for a masseuse. You'll get arrested.
Even here.
So I can't advertise that.
Yes.
And I don't want to, because I'm not going to massage your ass.
Yes.
And I said, and I don't do any of that other stuff.
Yeah.
So I went through the experience, because you always want to learn.
Yes.
I always want to learn. I wanted to see what it was. And I told her, I said, this is great, but it's really not for me. So anybody that calls gets the same thing that you say. Like, I'm sorry, I don't massage, and I don't do that.
That's
you want
practicing without a license.
Exactly.
And plus, I'm too alpha for that.
Right. And I'm the same way. I mean, if you want to come in for a bondage session, if you're a newbie and you found this and this is a way for you to feel like you want to come in and explore, that's great. But I'm going to tell you before you come see me, there's not going to be any happy ending, and there's not going to be any massage.
Exactly.
I will do bondage with you. I will do novice play to get you comfortable BDSM. But
I like to call it the S&M sample. You do a little everything.
Yes. I do it my introductory session.
Yes.
My exploratory one. Let's explore what you might like.
Yeah, but it's changing, and I understand that the economy is pretty tough, because in New York it's really not easy to be a dom in New York.
No.
Because it's like every day I get at least 4 calls of someone wanting to be a dom, and I discourage a lot of women who call me, because they're like, yes, I want to be dom. Why? Just like, well, I've always been a dom. I'm like, okay, you're not going to make any money. They're like, huh?
Right, you're not going to make any money.
I'm like, and they can't believe it. Well, I hear there's so much money in it.
No.
Like, no, there's no. Because there's a million of you out there.
Correct.
And which...
There didn't used to be a million.
It wasn't a million,
them.
and
no. We went into it because it was a labor of love, and we wanted to really enjoy what we did and do. And
exactly.
Now I get at least 1 or 2 emails every week going, I want to be a pro dom. Someone said I should try it. I need, I want to make some money. And I'm like, No. I could go and be a lawyer or a psychologist.
And I tell them, I was like, well, you can come try, because you're going to starve.
Right.
They're like, I'm going to starve. I'm like, you're going to starve.
You're going to starve.
And if you look at, like, some of the ads out there, everyone wants to be... There's nothing wrong with nudity, but, I've seen mistresses with names who actually would do a session naked. I'm not judging, but it's the taking a picture with your legs open and I'm like, that is not, that's prostitution.
I mean, that's not dominant. That's not the way that you and I were raised.
And I find
I hate to say that.
Even like in Arrows, like because I'm nosy, I go to the escort side, and a lot of the doms are crossing, like they say they're dominant, but then you'll also find them in escort.
Correct.
And it's like, so what does that mean? If someone calls you, they want a dominatrix, are you at some point going to give them a blowjob? And which, if it's a newbie and then he calls me, and well, I got that. They're getting confused. These guys
They're getting very confused.
Yeah, because they don't know.
And I also think that, like you said, they're not the submissives of, I hate to say it,
of our days.
Of our days. The submissive men that we have as regulars and have had for 20 years and 15 years, they're not out there anymore. Or if they are, they're in service to one of us.
Yes, exactly.
And they're, slowly disappearing. And unfortunately, and the new ones just don't have that submissive heart.
It's like, a lot of people know this, but I had a slave for 10 years, and he passed on 2 years ago.
I'm so sorry.
And the thing is, it's like, he was the longest slave that I ever had. I mean, it takes a tough slave to put up with me, because let me tell you, I am some diva. And and the thing is, what I realized is, I didn't realize what I had until he was no longer there. And because, yes, I have other slaves, but, and no one can ever replace him, but no one could even hold a candle near him, because it's like, that man loved me.
Right.
That man would give his right arm for me. And nowadays, slaves, it's like, well, you haven't played with me. You haven't, they're expecting things. And he never expected anything. He would come and he would just start cleaning, doing whatever. And if I wanted to play with him, but he always made me want to play with him. Like,
correct.
The things, because
he didn't bitch about it.
He didn't bitch about it. He might have bitched to other people, but I never even heard it. Like, she didn't play with me today, and he knew that I'm like this equipment junkie, and he'd always bring like a little something to. Oh, I gotta try that out, and he said, Mistress, I don't know, I saw this, and
so he knew the good way to do
things,
things,
and then the thing is, it's like so at some point, I don't know if you want to hear the story, but so he was my slave only, and I didn't have another slave. So then I started sessioning with this individual who would come once a month for 8 hours, and I was gonna buy another suspension unit, and not knowing what this person did for a living, because it was none of my business. And I was like, I think I'm going to go contact this person. And he was like, well, can I build it for you? And I was like, you build stuff? He was like, yeah, I'm a welder. I'm a mechanical engineer. I can build anything. I'm a machinist. I built pieces for machines that no longer exist. And I was like, okay, I want to see what he could do. Took him 6 months to build it. I didn't believe he was even building it. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I don't need it. I'm going to go order it. And he was like, okay. He says, I still have a couple of pieces, but I can bring it there. Came in with all these pieces, and I'm like, what in the world? So much stuff. It took him, I think, 4 days to put it together.
Oh, my God.
And my slave was very upset because he was jealous.
He was jealous.
He was like, I don't like this guy and this and that. And when someone now, I asked he's my slave now, like, if you were to make this for someone, what would you charge them? He was like, probably about 16,000, 17,000.
Right.
He was like, because a lot of the stuff I had to handcraft, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, because I'm a fair person, like, this is very expensive, and maybe for 2 years, 3 years, we don't, you don't pay for sessions. But then I liked him, and then, he wound up being my slave, and my other slave did not like him. So what the welder decided to do is to make friends with him. And they wind up being best friends. So when Louis was around me every week, once a week, so if there was something that I needed and he couldn't afford, he would then call Martin and they would plot together. I would come in and there would be like a beautiful piece of furniture waiting for me, or they worked as a team, and
that was the way it's supposed to be.
Rare.
It's very
and
rare.
It's so rare.
Very, very rare.
And it's like when my slave died, I grieved for so long, and
of course,
and you know, even my
my
significant other, who is not in the scene, he's just like, "Why are you crying for this man?" I'm like, "He was my slave,"
right?
And he's just like, "He was a slave, yes."
But no, he was my slave.
Yes,
he was
I owned him. He was my
He was my property. He was my slave.
I loved him.
Yes,
and it was funny. It wasn't funny, but when he passed away, and I announced it on Twitter because whenever Mistress came here, he made them feel loved and wanted. Like Sybil, when she came, he saw her, he would run out. He knew exactly how she liked her coffee. She knew exactly what she ate, and he knew everything about everything. Elena Dumuka, he knew what she. He knew everything about every mistress. Whenever someone's getting dressed, he knew how to corset. He knew how to lace up boots quickly. Like, he paid attention to so much detail. So Elena, I remember when he passed away, and she wrote, "My rubber is at half mast." And Sybil was like the best shiny boy, because he was a heavy rubberist, has passed on. And the love that he received, it was like, and then
that touched you.
It touched
right
me.
Here.
But then another slave who followed me was like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe it. You guys have feelings."
Really? Oh my God!
I was like,
wow.
Like,
no, we know.
No,
we really
like
know.
we're animals, and like we don't care about.
We don't care about who we're seeing.
Yes.
We don't care about who's in service to us.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And he wrote this, and he was very touched by how so many of us were, was missing.
I think the best doms have intense feelings.
Yes.
And we
We're not robots.
We're not robots.
Exactly.
We feel. Just because we are dominant women doesn't mean that we don't have a heart.
Yeah.
No.
But at times, sometimes I think I don't know, maybe about 25% of the clientele, I almost feel like a mom. Like I have to tell them to do this, do that, do this.
Yes. Life motivation.
Yes. And
I do that with quite a few of my boys.
I think I'm going to take a life coaching course. Because,
you should? I've considered that. You should.
Because
we already have the skills.
Yes, we already have the skills.
We've
just
had the
need to
skills
be
for
certified.
many years. We just need to be certified. Exactly. Like, I already know how to tell you what to do and what you're doing wrong. I already know how to do that. No. So tell me about your history in regards to my partner. When I told him I was interviewing you today, he's like, "Oh, cool." He's very excited. And he's made a comment. He said she's one of the first rubber doms.
Okay.
Instead of leather doms. And I said, yes, she is. I said, I agree with you. And I said, that's because of her European experience. And when we started here in America, it was leather. I'm a leather dom.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about that and your European experience and your rubber.
Well, the rubber was quite by accident. I was born a leather fetishist. My mother's a leather fetishist. My mother's a boot fetishist. I grew up with
like a good
leather. I remember, I don't know, I think I might have been 5 or something, or 4. I don't even remember what age. But I used to wear her platform thigh-high boots. So, and she caught me, and she started buying me little leather go-go boots. So she embraced it. She helped me embrace it. So I was a leather dom, and I had to do a photo shoot, and I went to Purple Passion, thinking that I can just pick a leather catsuit off the rack. I'm an African American woman. I have booty. They don't make. You know, because you're very curvy too. It's all custom. I went there and I said, I need a catsuit. And he was like, oh, Ariana, you have to pre-order that. And all of a sudden, he hands me this thing. And I was like, what is that? And I was like, that can't fit me. That looks half of my size. He said, this is going to fit you. Try it on. I was like,
Was it Hilton?
It was Hilton.
Of course it was.
And Hilton put powder in it. They helped me in it. And oh my God. Now, I was probably a size 2 then, but you know, we're never happy with our bodies.
We're never happy
Whatever
with our bodies.
imperfections that I thought I had, this fabric just tucked it right in. I was like, okay, I'll have this in 3 colors. And
what else you got?
then, I don't know, I just kept buying more and more rubber. So this British client, because I was like, latex goddess, you know, I kept saying I was a latex goddess. He came to see me.
And you were one of the first in the United States.
He came to see me, and he was like, oh, you're a latex goddess. Where's my clothes? I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
You have to bring your own. He was like, no, you said you're a latex goddess, which I did not know.
Right.
And actually,
you weren't overseas, so you didn't know.
We became really good friends, and I would go back and forth. And I remember on my birthday, he bought me my first vacuum beds.
Oh, sweet.
And after that, I used to go to London and work out in London. And every time I went to London, I came back with no money because whatever I made, I would hit regulations and I would hit expectations. So I remember I made when. I got this inflatable body bag because I'm in America. Most of my clients are huge. So I went there. I said, I need the body bag to hold someone about 6.5, tall. Make it 7. And I want him to be like 500-600 pounds.
Right.
So they were like, oh my God, regulation. They was like, this is the biggest body bag we have ever made.
Welcome to America.
And you know what? Everybody fitted, even the little guys. I put them in it. I just, roped it around, and it just looked like a caterpillar.
Fold it here,
exactly.
fold it there, right?
And I just could. It became like this addiction. And
it's like
although
tattoos.
I still also have leather product. I have a lot of feather stuff, but I kept remembering what Diana Balance said. You need to specialize because the thing is, I knew that Amanda Wildfire had this whole leather collection,
right.
And I kept looking to see who was doing rubber, and
none of us were.
No one was. So
we didn't know it was out there. We did not know it existed.
So then, my friend Nick, he actually took me to Germany. He introduced me to Reva, Lady Reva, and she owned the Institute of Gumi Eccentric. And although we're not friends now, she taught me so much. I really understood about what the whole being in rubber, what they were feeling, what they needed, and she truly educated me. And I really thank her for everything that I've learned because she set me apart from everyone.
Yes.
And
besides, you do that yourself, sweetheart.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying.
But we have to give credit.
I actually learned so much, and to see her vast array of rubber, she also drove me to spend all my earnings in Europe to always come back with more and more and more and more stuff, and I just couldn't get enough of it. So, yeah. So
what do you feel now, being one of the originators of rubber in the United States? Mm-hmm. What do you feel now about it being everywhere?
It's being...
and you have to have latex, and you have to have this, and you have to have that, and the girls being modeled in it all the time.
It's in fashion. I mean, I'm not gonna knock them. I mean, it's very sexy fabric.
Yes, it is.
Very sexy, and I get why fashion have gravitated to it because it did it to me. It's totally addictive, and it's just that, like, I find some clients like, well, this one brought a body bag from China, and the low quality, and a lot of these people aren't being trained like in the hoods and stuff like that. people can get hurt. You know, they forget that this is dangerous, and I made mistakes, and like Reva would nick it in the like Ariana, you know, this is dangerous. This hood, look at it, and this and that. You got to check this. You have to make sure this fits. You have to constantly, because if someone is hooded and tied up, you have to have some kind of way to communicate with them. So I'll say, wiggle your toes or move your fingers or something like that.
Right.
You have to be able to, and people aren't doing that.
They're not. They're not also thinking about the health risks, like you said, of being in rubber. The temperature changes, the overheating.
Yes.
And even when you come out of it, then the chill.
The aftercare.
The aftercare.
Exactly. The aftercare. And people aren't thinking about it. I mean, thank God I have really good air condition. And I'll
Yes, you do.
roll it in front of it because, and they stay cool in there. They stay cool. And when I know I'm getting close to ending my session, I'll turn off the air conditioner, maybe about 10 minutes. The room will still be cool, but it won't be freezing. And I'll have a towel for them because they're often sweating inside. They need to be wiped off. You can't.
Right. And you don't want them to get a case of the chills and shivering and their body temperature crashing.
You don't want them to get sick, and people aren't learning these little things. It's
a shame.
A lot of things are getting lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are. So tell me about this venture.
Oh, this one here.
Without the drama.
No, I like to call it my little money pet because
I don't. Victorian home.
No, because the thing is, I'm always like, let me change this room. Let me knock this wall down. Let me put it back up, and I don't know. This is my baby, and
I can understand that.
I don't know. I'm always trying to find new ways to make it perfect and to make it homey and to suit my needs and also my client needs. So it's always changing.
So what made you acquire it?
Acquire what?
This. What made you start it?
Well, okay.
Because it's a pain in the butt at times. Yeah, trust me, knowing.
Well, in 2001, I retired. I retired for almost 2 years. I was burned out, and I didn't want to do this anymore. And I'm an artist. So I was painting murals and doing stuff which I actually made way more money than doming. But anyway.
You're sitting there going,
So, yeah, something's wrong with me. So then what happened was I dismissed it. And I said, you know what? Let me maybe do one session. Because I never took down my website. Mm-hmm. So one session a week. One session turned into 2 and turned into 3, and then all of a sudden I wasn't doing the art thing anymore, and then I was renting at that time and traveling back and forth with trunks of gear. I said, you need your own place, and this building here, tell a little story. I knew about this building because there was another dungeon in this building prior to me moving in. And they had closed down, so I happened to be walking down the block, and I saw there was a floor that was vacant, and I was like, okay, and I know this guy knew what they did, so he is friendly,
right?
And I jumped on the bandwagon and did it,
and you haven't looked back.
And did not look back. I mean, often it's like because the scene is changing so much, and I feel like I need probably a smaller space just for me. And the only reason why I don't do that is New York is lacking of female-owned dungeons like this.
Correct.
All of the other dungeons like this with the multiple rooms are owned by men, and they do not treat us like human beings. They treat us like property, whores or whatever. And the reason why this is not, let's say, no one works for me, is I want a place where you can have your own business.
Correct.
And where you can rent. I give advice. I tell them, look, social media, do this, do that. I'm always helping them. And if I close these doors, where are they going
Where are they going to go?
Where are they going to go?
Where are they gonna
And this is why I keep it for them.
I've reached that point as well. No,
Yeah.
I understand. I'm, my travel has gotten so crazy, and Chicago, I'm there probably half the time I used to be, and I go back and forth so much. And I keep the studio and all of my equipment from 20 years there because I want the girls to use it. I want them, it may not be the fanciest place, it may not be the brightest, shiniest dungeon, but it's mine and my equipment, and I want the girls to use it.
I get that all the time. Like, oh well, this and this place has 5 bathroom or 10 bathroom, whatever they have, and this and this place, and the place is like 3 times as big, and I'm like, look, well, I don't have any backer. This is all my sweat and work. I mean, this is my dom work.
This is my dom work.
I never had a slave that actually sat there and said, "Oh, here's $100,000. Build yourself a dungeon." I mean, I worked and exactly. I mean, only as I got older that I actually found someone who can build me equipment, which is a bonus because, like, I'll laugh like Mistress is like, "Hey Ariana, why are you always going out to buy your own shoes?" I was like, "I don't have slaves that buy me shoes. I don't have slaves that buy my shoes.
Actually, I do now. I have a wonderful foot slut now.
Honey, I've been looking for one because all I get I'm lucky with the equipment.
The equipment would be nice. But I have a very good foot slut right now.
Slaves. Somebody was like, "Oh, you have feet? I've never seen them. They're always in boots." So you see, that's my fault.
There you go. I got boots. There we go.
So,
but he's a new boy, and he's very, very sweet. And I haven't had a foot slut that treated me for shoes in a very long time. So he's a good boy.
But I don't mind the equipment.
I'm an equipment whore.
Me too. You too?
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. 2 full dungeons plus my home.
Oh God.
Yeah. Plus a husband who's a bondage baby, latex fetish, leather whore.
Oh God.
I feel sorry for me now. Oh my God. So I know we have dinner reservations for the lovely lady here birthday. So I want to ask a few things.
Okay.
What would you give advice to the younger doms, besides don't do it, that are already in here and want to know about longevity?
Educate yourself. Learn the craft. Have a passion for it. Just don't do it for the money because the true subs can see through you.
Yes, they can.
They can see through you.
Yep. And if you are doing it for the money, they're going to know.
They're going to know.
I just wish we had a few more true subs come out of the woodwork once in a while.
They will.
They're out there.
They will. Because once I get my hand on any of them, I try to, mold them.
So what are your specialties besides latex that you enjoy doing?
Gosh. Leather. I like leather bondage. I like rope bondage, latex. I am very good with a single tail. Heavy corporal punishment.
There you go. So far, lady of the own heart here.
Although I don't market it like I used to, I love medical.
Medical's my passion, you know that. Love medical. Medical and heavy bondage.
Yeah. So, and although I don't know how to do makeup and stuff like that, I like the rubber sissies. Yeah, I love the rubber sissies. The inflatable boobs, and I love that. So
that came from your beginnings.
Yeah.
Learning it. Yes. That's So what is on the horizon for you? What is coming up? What are your plans for the future? Some of us have started retiring. Some of us have been dumb enough to open 2 spaces. Like Irene, me.
I am actually thinking about relocating, closer to the south. I'm not sure. It's probably like 5-6 years from now. I'm not sure. I'm just enjoying the moment now and keeping this place open for a lot of beautiful and wonderful women.
And the energy is fantastic. I mean, I got to walk in and see a dead body. Yeah. It's wonderful.
It's to me, they're not my employees. They are my family. This is our dungeon. So
I agree 100%. And it saddens me sometimes when mine doesn't, get used when I'm there. And, you know how work goes in cycles, and then you
Yeah.
know, the energy, the space needs the energy.
Yeah.
This may be a heavy question, and I know we got dinner reservations, and Winter's going to be like, "Where the hell are you guys?" But I did want to touch on something you said earlier in the interview, and it was my intent to bring it up, and I hope it's not a sensitive topic, but. What challenges have you experienced as an African American dom, and how do you do race play? And
Well, you want to know
I was gonna say, I think.
Okay, now, don't judge me. So, there is a German mistress who used to work here, and she still works here every once in a while. And she came out, she was like, "Oh my God, he came to see me because I'm German," and you know, the whole.
Right.
And it was a black guy, and she was like, I can't do this. And I was like, "Put your big girl panties on." And then I take a piece of paper towel, and I'm talking to her, and I'm shredding it in my hand. And I said, "Here, you go in that room and take all the shred, throw it on the floor, and tell that end to go pick some cotton." And she's
Oh my God, I love it.
She's like, "Ariana, like, how could you say that?" And I'm like, it's called role play.
Right.
It's fantasy. It doesn't mean you feel like that. So what? I mean, I've had people come to me and say things to me like, "Oh, Ariana, you know, I want to do this." I go and I do my research and I write all the words down and
And we do it.
I do it. But then at the end of the session, I'm like, "Hey, you know, it's great." And we're talking like normal people.
Right.
It's called role play. That is it.
Correct.
So race play does not.
So basically, get over
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Get over it.
It does. It's no big deal. It's someone's fantasy, and if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. You know,
Right. We don't have to do everything.
yeah. I mean, I told her far worse things too, but you know, I don't want anyone to judge me here.
I love that idea. It's so funny. Well, I want to thank you for
problem.
taking the time this weekend and being such a lovely host during my New York visit. And
you.
hopefully next time I come, the New York boys will come out more.
They will.
No,
They will. It for some reason was a little slow this week. So,
and it's
but it was
because
so
everybody's here. Everybody decided to come in this week.
Yeah.
If someone wants to get a hold of you, how would they do so? What's your content?
Well, mistressariana.com. Oh, by the way, I was one of the first mistresses on the internet. Had to throw that out there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I think I still have my original website, and I think it was red and black with flames.
Yeah. So
But okay.
it was great, you know.
What about your social media?
My social media? Oh.
Yeah, remember we
NYC Rubber Studio or NYC Mistress Ariana Chevalier or Ariana Chevalier.
Perfect.
So I'm all over the place. Google me.
Google you.
Yes.
Yeah, just like
All you have to do is put New York City professional dominatrix. I come in first.
There you go. As it should be. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
and
Simone.
I hope you'll join us for dinner.
I will.
Thank you.